Hello, my name is Madelyn Steinbeck, and
I'm Daniel Johnson.
this is our final group presentation for English 249 Technical Writing fall semester. Our topic is unfair pay variation by position within companies. There were 5 members in our group, and we are doing this for Grand Rapids Community College with Professor McElwee. Our abstract focused more on trying to, grasp the sheer amount of resources there are available around wage statistics, particularly US government statistics. We tried to connect the unfair pay variation between different types of positions and career types, not always within the same company. We've been researching many studies, particularly by the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and we are looking to see what the causes of these differences really are. Most common reasons for variation we see is the educational achievement of employees, gender, age, wealth inequality, and thus resources available with that, along with racial discrimination in the workforce. This study serves to prove the disproportionate earnings of higher level individuals and the lack of resources for lower level individuals in companies to close this gap. Within organizations, employees of varying types are compensated unfairly, this being funds and salary payment. This unfair earning within the company also makes a workforce that is less sustainable, especially in the United States capitalist setup. This graphic is from the Economic Policy Institute, taken from Social Security Administration Wage Statistics, 2007 statistics in particular. The cumulative percent change in real annual wages by different percentile income groups. The bottom 90%, the 90 to 95th percentile, 95th to 99th percentile, the top 1%, and not on the graph, the top 0.1%. Using this data, we were able to see the gap between percentile earnings is evident. It cannot be argued that positions in the top 0.1% or 1% portion of income are serving in positions with necessary skill or capacity to equal more than a 100 to 300% difference in income raise percentages. This graphic from the Pew Research Center focuses on important skills that employers take into account when hiring and looking at raises for current employees. Looks at social skills, fundamental skills, analytical skills, managerial skills, and mechanical skills. Outside of educational requirements, these are important because they are what sets employees apart within the company if they have the same levels of experience or education or resources. This graph calls into question what skills employers actually do value. With less quantitative ways to measure skills, such as social skills or fundamental skills, which are more of a qualitative attribute, employers have to use older and less effective methods for determining hiring and pay raises, such as internal connections, employee wage standards and expectations, or standardized testing within or outside of the company.
These two graphics are a representation of households by race in the United States and their overall wealth contribution to the overall US economy. And so the graph on your left is going to display the population divided by household in America. And the graph on your right is going to present the household contribution of wealth by race. And the essential problem that we've found here is that these percentages do not mirror each other. With this research, we found that the white household in America contributes 86.8% of all US wealth. However, they only represent less than 70% of the population. This is again displaying the disparity between population and wealth contribution. I created these graphs to represent the unfair pay variation and the mirroring between population. And so next we have sort of a comprehensive representation of why these minorities might be misrepresented in US wealth contribution. And that is because we have taken various occupations and tried to understand what the demographics are racially that make up these jobs. So we see, for example, we can take management occupations that is dominated by white employees by far, and almost all these jobs that are listed on this graph are dominated by Caucasian employees, which would represent the unfair representation in these jobs, resulting in unfair pay variation. And so here we see the dichotomy between a white household and Latino and Black households displayed earlier. And so this information coming from the Economic Policy Institute once again tells us a shocking statistic, which says that the average white household contains $184,000 of wealth. This essentially means salary plus assets, which could be a mortgage or a car payment, whereas the Black and Latino family average less than 40,000.
In conclusion, there are a lot of factors that contribute to this divide: wealth, education, unfair compensation, and employment gaps in demographics such as age, race, gender. The current hiring processes and work compensation systems allows those in a state of higher earning with more generational wealth and thus more resources. They are more likely to get higher earning jobs, thus fueling the cycle of higher earners getting better jobs, making more generationally. Positions in corporate and technological sectors are more likely to earn more annually than individuals in the trades, arts, or local positions. Although the worth of a college degree may be shrinking, individuals with degrees and educational advantages are more likely to earn more. This also brings into the gap in race, as less educational resources are available to primarily Black and Latino communities. A lack of worthy compensation for tradesmen and social workers, such as city laborers or teachers, has led to employment gaps in those fields recently and decreased incentives for the workers who remain. With low salaries and difficult work conditions, it is unfair to ask those employees to be valued less than their fellow workers in such technological or corporate fields. Businesses unfairly credit higher level positions with increased pay, weakening future business potential and economic and infrastructure stability. Our current recommendations in order to solve reducing the wage divide and offering incentives to maximize employee skill levels and education for career and company success have 4 potential options. 1, we could create a federal wage gap maximum based on company profits, meaning the employee that makes the most can only make so much more than the employee who makes the least. Salary workers would be required salaries to vary by less than a preset percentage or a set amount based on that company's tax bracket. The second approach would be to require companies to publish their wages and employment statistics based on criteria such as previous employment, education, and age to qualify for legal and public trading of company stock.
This is our works cited. This is a representation of all the sources used throughout this project.